Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway. Up to date I've got yet another American steam loco to show you. People have been asking me recently, more American stuff, more American stuff, more American stuff. So okay, alright, more American stuff, here it comes. Today's loco, you will recognise it immediately. Here it is. And yes, like most of Bachmann's Spectrum stuff, the box reveals almost nothing at all about what's inside. But this is a Baldwin 280, I believe, from the Southern Railway, not the Southern Railway in the UK. Confusingly, there apparently was also a Southern Railway in the States as well. Railway, not railroad. Yeah, I don't understand it either. This cost me, well, I bought this on eBay, so it's £65. That's actually quite good, isn't it? The RRP for this is, I believe, well, it equates to £185. It's obviously more in dollars, and I think at the retailers they tend to sell this for around £100, so I mean that's not too bad. That's kind of about spot on for a loco of this size. Well, I say spot on, it's in keeping with UK prices, typical UK prices, so no major complaints on the price. 65 quid, I'm quite happy. I bought this probably 6 months ago and I took it out and serviced it back then, but since then I've not looked at this, so let's take it out today. Let's find out what this is like together, see if we can put a verdict together for this. So come with me, let's get this out and see what it's like. So yeah, as nice as the packaging is, I'm not kidding, it really does tell you nothing about what's inside. Even if I show you the end of the box, it doesn't tell you anything about the loco's class or anything. It's just the item number there, number 83603. It's an HO280 loco, DCC equipped in the Southern Green number 722. So yeah, I really had no idea what this was or anything about its history until I looked up that running number and luckily managed to find a class. What was the class now? I can tell you what the class was. It was the KS1 class, apparently. There we go. Well, there's not much to see on the box, but as I say, completely blank, no warnings, no nothing. So we can get this out straight away and see what this is like. All right, I really can't remember much about this except for the fact that it's got a beautiful livery, which is probably why I bought it in the first place. And there is, if we look at this, a price on there, it says it was £103, which is about what the retailers tend to sell these for. But there we go, yeah, it's just a little bit about DCC, it looks like. And then on the back we have an exploder diagram showing the different parts of the loco, which is quite interesting to look at, but most interesting of all is the mechanism. As you can see, instead of just using gears for the transmission, it uses gears and a belt. It's got a belt drive. I never understood that. I think the Russian Decapod did as well. Why? Why? Does it dull vibrations from the motor or something? I don't know, to me that just seems like another unnecessary point of failure, and from there you've still got the worm drive and everything, so it's not a question of efficiency. Yeah, don't understand that, but it is very interesting and it doesn't seem to cause problems. I think it's a toothed belt drive, so it doesn't just slip once it gets oil on it or something. There's quite a lot of paperwork in here. I think this is just to do with the warranty, so we don't need to look at that. That's the warranty card. What's this? No, I don't want a 175 plus page full colour standard line and spectrum catalogue, thank you very much. Pop that to one side. Right, now you will notice that for some ungodly reason they packaged the loco here and the tender here, which means instead of the box being this big, it is this big, which is one of the most uneconomical things I've ever heard of. Sounds about right for Bachmann though, doesn't it? It's probably why the prices are so high. Anyway, let's not turn this into a rant. But yeah, I decided when I serviced this, rather than trying to disconnect the many plugs and things from the tender and loco to store them separately, I thought I would just put them in together like this. As it is, the packaging's not that great anyway, so hopefully this will have survived unscathed. It's not travelled anywhere since I've done this. How do I do this? That might make it a bit easier. Anyway, yeah, you can see it, can't you? Look how beautiful this thing looks. Very, very beautiful. I'm just debating where to grab hold of this so as not to destroy it. I think that works. All right. So, a few things to notice to start with. For the price, which is about £100 from the retailers, this is a very heavy, chunky model. It's also gloss finished, which is very unusual. I don't think I've ever had a Bachmann gloss finished loco before, besides some of the Thomas engines. And also, as I did say earlier on, the livery is just gorgeous on this. Hopefully you can understand why I had to buy this when I saw it on eBay for just £65. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful, isn't it, that? Right, so let's have a look at some of the specs. So I can see we've got some tender pickups on there, which is unusual. Yeah, most of Bachmann's British stuff doesn't have tender pickups. Despite its weight, the loco body does appear to be largely made of plastic. The sort of gangways on the sides here, sorry, I forgot the term. The ladders, the pilot at the front, that is all plastic, I think. I think on the Russian decapod, those elements were made of metal, weren't they? Which made it a little bit more weighty and quality feeling, but the weight is definitely not a problem. So I will give you a little bit of history on these locos, and then we will take a close look at this, and I will show you some of the details. All right, very exciting. Let's try. So number 722 was built in 1904 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works, and it was part of the KS1 class designed for freight work. These 280s were very numerous. 471 of them were built in total between 1903 and 1912, and they're also very versatile, being able to operate anywhere on the Southern Railway system. They were complete with many familiar design features to us Brits, such as the Stephenson's valve gear and the 200 psi boilers, with some examples receiving superheated boilers, Walschaerts valve gear, mechanical lubricators, and quite a lot more over the years. Retirement of the design started as early as 1935, and by 1953 only 2 examples remained in operation on the Southern Railway. Today only 2 remain in preservation. I think they're different to the final 2 that were withdrawn, one being this example in fact. So yes, number 722 was indeed preserved. It's not running at the moment as far as I know. It is awaiting restoration though. So there it is, the Bachmann Southern Railway number 722, up close and personal for you. And to be honest, I'm reasonably impressed with this. When I bought it and when I was researching the prices, I thought this was just going to be a beginner's model, okay? And in some areas it is. I mean, you can get much more detailed models than this, and most of this model is plastic, as I've already said, but actually the level of detail has quite impressed me for just £100, as you can get them from the retailers. On the whole, some aspects aren't quite up to scratch, but for the most part it is quite impressive. So let's start with the decoration first of all. I mean, it's a reasonably complex livery. If we look at the side of the cab, you can see there is quite a lot of printed detail going on here, but it's all done very nicely. You've got the white lining along the running plate there, which is done faultlessly, can't fault that. The smoke box area transitions to this silver paintwork as opposed to the glossy green very, very perfectly. There's no paint bleed whatsoever. Same thing goes with the firebox area as well. I mean, it's all really, really nicely painted. You do have 1 or 2 sloppy areas. The dome here, which I think is for the sand, yeah, you can see the decoration on there isn't quite up to scratch. The same thing with the other dome just behind it there. Yeah, they've struggled to apply the lining to those, haven't they? Whether that's because it's so glossy, I'm not too sure, but on the whole, the decoration is good. Look at the builder's plate. Is that the builder's plate? Hopefully my new close-up lens will be able to get a good shot of that so that we can see. But yeah, I mean, overall, in general, I would say the decoration gets a big tick. The detailing is really quite good on here as well. We do have quite a lot of separately fitted parts. So you've got all of these metal handrails along the side of the boiler. They all look fantastic. You've got the pipes coming down from the dome. All of the pipe work on the side of the boiler, none of that is moulded. That is all separately fitted, which is fantastic. Same thing goes with the underframe. You've got these. What are these for? If anyone knows what these are for, do let me know. I don't think I've ever seen those on British locos. You've got a nice separately fitted bell here. Now that to me looks like it's made of metal. The paint that they've chosen for that belt looks absolutely superb, but I am pretty sure that is made of plastic, but it looks very, very good. The whistle here as well, that is just plastic, but it looks great, doesn't it? The way that it shines, the finish, it looks really, really good. I suppose I ought to talk about the finish as well. Some people agree that the gloss like this makes models look a little bit toy-like, and if you agree with that, that's absolutely fine. I think that's a defensible position. I personally quite like it. It doesn't look too toy-like in this instance, although sometimes it can. But yeah, I mean, locos are glossy in real life. The fact that this model is too is not a problem, I don't think. It's quite a nice gloss. It's not over glossy. It doesn't look like cheap plastic gloss, in my opinion at least, although maybe you would disagree. The cab then is one area where the model isn't quite as good. If you look on the top here, you've got quite a lot of chunky detailing actually. There's a bit less finesse there, it seems, than on the rest of the model. None of those air intakes open or anything like that, which is a good job because it means that the cab is kept dark because there's no painted detail inside there at all. Although we do have some separately fitted figures inside which are painted too. I believe those come with the model. They look just like some of the other Bachmann figures I've got. The glazing is okay on the sides. You've got these quite complex looking windows here which are not the same as on UK models. On the front though, the glazing's not that great. It's not flush with the outside of the body or anything like that, which is a little bit of a pity. We do have these separately fitted metal handrails around the cab, as well as this metal tender full plate, which is adjustable, I believe. Yes, it is. So that's a nice touch as well. The smoke box area is a joy to behold, isn't it? Look at this. So you've got this lamp. I believe that will be a functioning lamp, but we'll have to try that. Lovely moulded detail around the smoke box area, as well as the separately fitted handrail. Down on the pilot, you've got another separately fitted metal handrail, which is free to rotate a little bit, which is strange, but fair enough. Nice corrugated metal texture on there, and you've got these sort of mock KD couplings pre-fitted. They're not NEM or anything like that, so you wouldn't be able to easily exchange them, which again is a bit of a shame, bit of a pity, but nothing to complain about too heavily. The wheel set is particularly nice. I would say the connecting and coupling rods are a little bit on the chunky side, but I do think that's part and parcel of USA locomotives. Yeah, generally speaking, I think they were a bit thicker and chunkier than what we're used to in the UK. The wheels themselves, though, are very nicely done. You've got the white lining around the edges, which isn't too bad, not too bad, and the centres have been covered up as well, which is a really nice thing to see. So overall, I'm quite pleased with the loco. The tender's not bad either. It's got this same glossy finish, and the level of decoration is similar to that on the loco. Can't really fault the lining in any way. The tender is a little bit of a mixed bag. It's got some high quality features and some low quality features. We'll start with high to start with. You've got nice metal wheels, which I've already indicated have pickups going to them, which is really good. You've got a nice realistic coal load, which I don't think is metal or anything like that, but it's quite nice and glossy, looks quite realistic. And the tender's complete with metal handrails, which look just the job. On the downside, you've got this very chunky ladder on the back, which doesn't look particularly convincing. I mean, maybe I'm doing it a disservice. Maybe the ladders were incredibly chunky in real life, but I doubt it. That just looks a little bit less convincing than the rest of the model does. You've also got far too many wires and things going from the loco to tender. There's 2 plugs and the wires are not disguised at all, and below the cab you can quite clearly see them, which is a pet hate of mine. Not a big fan of that, to be honest with you, but I suppose most of my models are the same in that regard. And you've got the same sort of mock KD on the back, which appears to be broken, actually. That's not very good. That's possibly to do with the bad packaging. Yeah, maybe I'll have to replace that with the one on the front. Maybe I'll take the front one off altogether. I can't see me needing that. Anyway, there we go. That is a good look at the loco. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the level of detail. Yeah, to be honest, it's a bit better than I was expecting, and the loco is really quite convincing looking. Look at the huge gap underneath the boiler there. I mean, the mechanism has been quite cleverly designed in order to have that much daylight showing through the back. Yeah, it's nice. I really like it, and the beautiful livery finishes this off really nicely, I think. Next up then, let's talk a little bit about the mechanism. I'll dismantle this in a small way, have another look inside, and let you know what I find. So there it is then, the Bachmann Baldwin 280 down onto the track, and this is looking fantastic. I loved this livery when I first saw it, and it's growing on me. It's only growing on me. I love it that much. Okay, so I've had a look at the mechanism. I haven't been able to dismantle it entirely because I was worried about not getting it back together again, so I haven't been able to look at the motor properly. But everything else I have been able to get a look at. First things first then, the weight is absolutely insane. This weighs in at 496 grams. That's more than the Hornby Tornado, a Pacific, and it's only 24 grams less than the Hornby Princess Royal, the new one, and that's one of the heaviest locos I've ever owned. To say this is a relatively medium-sized 280, the weight is astonishing. Pickups, we're okay on pickups, so we have all wheels picking up on the loco, all driving wheels, not the front pony truck. And then the tender has half of its wheels picking up. It's done through the axles, so you've got 4 wheels on the tender which pick up. It's not the best in the world, but it's better than nothing. Now, if I remove the base plate of the loco, you can see that we have no proper bearings on the wheel set, which is a shame, quite typical from Bachmann. You can see, though, that we have round slots cut into the chassis for the wheels to sit into, as opposed to square ones, so that is something. And you've also got a few nicely sprung axles as well, which should help this loco handle gradients and curves and things. So yeah, I mean, the mechanism's not the best. I do suspect that this has a 3-pole motor inside, but I've not been able to open it up and look for myself, so I'm not going to be criticising it for that. But obviously, if that is the case, then yeah, we prefer 5-polers, don't we? But generally speaking, the mechanism is okay. Pulling power then is rather good as well. I measured 0.66 newtons, which should be enough for this to handle 38 coaches. That is actually more than the Hornby Princess Royal. This loco, this tiny-ish loco, handling more coaches than the Princess Royal. That is just insane. Anyway, it is DCC fitted, which means I will be testing it on DCC. That's kind of my policy. I test them as they come. If a loco comes without a decoder, I'll test it without a decoder. This one came with DCC, so I will test it with DCC. First things first then, if I push the function button, look what happens. Yep, we get that lovely lamp come on the front. It's not overstated, is it, or anything like that. It is very subtle, but it is also quite noticeable as well, which is lovely. So that's really, really cool. That's the kind of feature that you'd expect for your money, isn't it? Okay, very nice. Right, let's give this a test then. Let's try a crawl. Now, this is on DCC, so for all those people that say locos crawl better on DCC, here is your time to be proved correct. Let's give this a go then. Ready? Let's give it a little bit of juice. I think we are set. I'm not sure which direction we're set, to be honest. Backwards, it seems. Right. All right, now to say how much the loco weighs, that crawl is pretty good. The crawl isn't bad. Let's go a little bit faster. Ooh, has it stalled or is it just struggling? No, it's still going. Okay, right, I'm not touching the controller now. We'll just let it go, see how it does. Now it has stopped. Alright, so it's not dreadfully consistent. I'm not surprised. There must be a lot of friction due to the lack of bearings, and the weight of the loco will be taking its toll on there. So, I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think it's definitely stalled now. Yeah, it stalls and then it recovers. Right, shall we see if it's any better going forwards? Yeah, let's give that a go. Oh yes, it does seem to be. It actually seemed to kick in at a slightly lower speed step that time. Yeah, I would say that's a bit smoother as well. Let's go a bit faster then. To be honest, the performance isn't that disappointing. I think I've had worse. Ooh, that's not dreadfully smooth. It's not the best. We'll say that. It's not the best. It's also got quite an unhealthy noise. And yeah, oof. Yeah, it's not very consistent actually. So yeah, I mean the performance is what it is. It's very powerful, but it isn't particularly smooth. Yeah, it's not that happy at that speed, is it? We've seen better. But the performance is better than I thought it would be, having seen those, you know, those dodgy bearings. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, and I have noticed also when it reverses around curves, there's some bad clicking coming from the valve gear, which doesn't inspire much confidence. It has never locked up, which is a good thing. But yeah, it does make the noises, which isn't very good. Anyway, let me go a bit faster for you. I must say at say 50% speed it becomes nice and smooth, as you can see. Yeah, so that's all right. Yeah, generally it could be worse, couldn't it? Could be worse. For the money, for 100 quid, if that's what you're lucky enough to get them for from your retailer, it's fine. It's fine. It's worth it, I would say. Not a problem. Right, let's go and couple up to these coaches then. This is the first time I've ever showed these coaches. They were very kindly given to me by a good friend of mine, and they are beautiful. So thank you, Pete, for those. They're not necessarily suitable for this loco, but they are sort of American coaches, and they beat sort of LNE Artiques, don't they? So let's go and couple to those. Let's see how they look with this loco, and I'm guessing it should be able to handle them without any problems. This is a freight loco, of course, so hopefully no one's cringing too badly at this. Right, have we got them? I think that's a very obvious no. I tell you what, let's come away a little bit and just try a little bit more force. No, that's derailed the coach. All right, hang on. Slight jump cut coming up. Okay, that's sorted. I should say it was the loco's coupling that was wonky and not the coach's. I've already replaced it as well, by the way, from that broken one that was in there. I took the one out of the front. Yeah, that doesn't inspire very much confidence, does it? But I think we are coupled, and now let's choose, say, 40% speed. There we go. See how it gets on, and I'll show you what else I'm going to be running. So today's theme is going to be Bachmann 8 coupled locomotives, and so with that we have this. This is the 7F British, I'm afraid. I don't have any more Bachmann 280s from the States, which is a shame. Maybe I should correct that sometime. But this has my ocean of ocean wagons. A few people were asking to see every ocean wagon on a train, so I have obliged. There it is. Not sure how many it is now. It's got to be 20 odd, hasn't it? And then on the inside line I have this loco. This is another Bachmann 280. This is a great central design. It is the Robinson 04, I believe. I should have been clever and picked some Southern Railway locos from the UK, shouldn't I? But no, there we go. That's that with some LNER teaks. Alright, let's go and catch up with the Baldwin, see how it's getting on. So despite the weight and the pulling power, the torque of the system here is still not very impressive, even on DCC. A lot of people said the issues I was seeing were just because I was running them on DC. That doesn't seem to be the case. See how slowly it's coming up the incline here? I say incline, it's just the slope of the house. It's very, very mild. But even with 4 coaches, it is slowing down quite a lot. Now, let me show you it coming down Gordon's Hill without touching the controller, and you'll see the difference. There you have it, 7F. Lovely loco, that one. Just waiting for the Baldwin, coming down the main straight here. 7F is impressing me, actually. I mean, I didn't think they were that powerful, but here it is, handling all of those wagons. Anyway, back to the Baldwin. Now, hopefully it's going to speed up here, coming down the hill. As you can see, it has quite considerably. Now, that's not normal. That's not normal, not with 4 coaches. Locos with better mechanisms tend to handle the entire layout at a constant speed, even on DC. You can see on curves as well, it slows down quite a lot, which is a sort of Bachmann signature, isn't it? Yeah, the performance isn't the best in the world, which is a shame. But it's adequate. It's adequate for what I paid. And to be honest, I hate to admit it, because locos do need to be good across the board, but the way this loco looks does make up for its shortcomings on mechanism. I know that shouldn't be the case, and I wouldn't recommend a loco based on that, but yeah, as far as my personal feelings go, I still like it for that. I find myself gravitating towards that 7F, filming it when I'm not supposed to be doing. Anyway, we should just get the Baldwin in the back. There it goes, speeding up noticeably on the precipice of Gordon's Hill. Ratings incoming then for the Bachmann Spectrum Baldwin 280. Generally speaking, the level of detail has really impressed me. The decoration was pretty much okay. There are lots and lots of separately fitted parts on this model. Very few of them are just moulded on. Wasn't absolutely perfect. We didn't have the painted cab, and some of the details seemed a little bit coarse compared with some of the other details, which seemed really quite high spec. But on the whole, the level of detail was really, really good. The performance, I think I've been a little bit harsh here in just giving it 3-star, but I do think it's deserved. First of all, it's not particularly smooth, particularly at the lower speeds. It's not particularly constant either. If it's going up an incline, it does travel much more slowly than it does if it's going down an incline, which is a bit unusual given the fact that this is DCC. As a lot of Bachmann locos seem to be, this one is reasonably underpowered as far as the torque of the mechanism goes. However, the pulling power itself, if you are able to turn the controller right up and get the wheels going at a good speed, the pulling power is amazing. I measured 0.66 newtons, which is around 38 coaches. That is more than my Hornby Princess. I think besides the Helgen Garrett, that is probably the most powerful steam loco I have, which is amazing. It's only a 280. Very, very powerful. The mechanism then I've given just a 3-star. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the motor. I suspect deeply that it is a 3-pole motor, but without dismantling it to find out for certain, I'm not going to knock off any stars for that. However, the belt-driven aspect of this mechanism seems a little bit fussy and unnecessary. If it made things particularly quiet, particularly strong, or particularly smooth, I would be all for it, but it's none of those. So the belt-driven mechanism seems a little bit silly. We don't have any proper bearings on the wheel set, which again is a little bit of a shame. And the tender pickups, while they are present, and that is an extra mark for that, they're not the best. They're not on every wheel, so the support from the tender is less than it might have been. However, on the whole, I will give Bachmann their due and say that this is better than many of the other Bachmann mechanisms I've looked at. Not by much, but it is certainly better. The quality then I've given just 3-star. Generally the build quality is really quite good. There are a few scuffs on the paintwork which may or may not be down to the previous owner, but overall the build quality is really quite good. It does lose a mark for the mechanism, which is not the best quality in the world, and it loses another mark for the largely plastic construction of the body. I think the 5-star locos need to be made of metal, or largely made of metal, but generally there isn't a quality problem, I would certainly say that. Now the value for money is not too bad either. I've given this a 4-star, which is quite good for Bachmann. So the RRP, I believe, is around £185, which, don't get me wrong, is very expensive, but that's about the going rate for a similar loco over here in the UK. Generally, the American market's more expensive than we are over here in the UK, so I don't think that's too bad. The retailers, I think it was Model Train World, was it? Possibly, had these on sale for just $89.99, although their usual price is more like $139, which is more like £100. Hopefully that makes some sense. Overall, while it isn't a perfect model, I would say, given the level of detail and the strength and the other advantages of this model, it's worth it. It's a good purchase, probably the best Bachmann Spectrum loco I've ever owned, which is saying something, I would say. Overall then, that is a fairly respectable score of 7.27 out of 10. Let's put that into the logbook. Where are we? 27th, just above the Hornby Barricaldo and below the Helgen 07. Yeah, pleasantly surprised by that one. That was much better than I expected it to be. I am enjoying this. Bachmann do make a good looking loco, don't they? And it's really refreshing, not just to see it in a plain black or something like that. The green is a really nice change in my opinion. It's got a real presence on the track, hasn't it? And the red cab, it's just like the classic American steam locos you see pictures of. Well, there you have it then, folks. That was very pleasant. I really did enjoy that one. So, I mean, let me know down in the comments, was I too forgiving on this? Did I let my feelings get in the way of the ratings? I don't know. Let me know. I think I was sufficiently harsh. And let me know, would you pay £100 for one of these, or would you leave it in the shop? Do let me know. For now, though, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and I will see you very, very soon for some more videos. All right, folks, thank you very much. See you next time.